The show is called My Friend The Lich, and it is about Nicholas, his Aunt Lois, and the Lich.
The Lich.
The Lich.
The Lich.
Hence the name of the show, Lich.
In case you didn't know, a lich is essentially a dead wizard, something that's alive, but it's dead, but it keeps itself alive with evil, dark magic. Liches are usually associated with dark, evil stuff, but this one's a little grumpy, but he's kind of friendly. Nicholas visits his aunt's house, Aunt Lois, and opens up a box of his, and a lich comes out, and they have a bit of a chat.
He's gone through trauma and he's coping with it through being with the Lich, but the Lich is also trying to bring him back to reality.
When the Lich isn't on the stage, it's essentially a completely different show between Lois and Nicholas. It's very intimate and sweet and sincere. And then I barge on and do craziness. There's Nicholas's story with himself and his own turmoil. There's Nicholas and the Lich and their back and forth. But the real story is Nicholas and Lois.
I want to let her into my world, but I don't want to hurt her.
I think he also feels a bit jealous of Lois, that she doesn't remember and therefore she doesn't feel any pain. But I've got memory problems, and I also don't know whether I perhaps had early onset dementia, or whether in fact, and I think this could be the fact that I was perfectly fine perhaps up until this incident, and that this is some kind of PTSD response.
I wanted the play to essentially ask the question, why would it be good for someone to remember something bad? I wouldn't want people to think that this show has any kind of twist. Everything gets revealed at its own pace, and you can understand, you can get the twist, you can predict the twist within the first 10 minutes of the show. There's a couple of lines here and there early on that pretty much give it away.
I know that there was a line when I heard it, when I first read it, in fact, and I went, oh, that's what happened. And then you start to feel real empathy for both Nicholas and for Lois. And then you also start to see why the Lich is doing what he's doing, and why he's sort of changed a bit as a character from being the, like you say, the bombastic, flapping around guy.
The fantasy moments are a mask of what I'm actually thinking of, and that really shows through with the video, with the cuts to and from the fantasy to reality.
They get to fight monsters and go off on an adventure, but thanks to the videos and what happens later on, it starts to get revealed that these fun, adventurous moments are actually a lot darker than they seem at first. When we act alongside the video, it's like this weird spoken song, because we have to time our actions to the music, but we're not singing.
It doesn't just fit one genre. There's comedy, there's some really funny lines in it. There is like a really traumatic, sad drama, and there's also the whole fantasy, magical kind of aspect.
Little bonus, sprinkled on top.
Sprinkled on top.
It helps us to understand what our kids are doing too, because my son spends half his life on his computer and talking about liches and all sorts of weird things. So you might even actually understand your child after you come and watch this show.
Yeah, they're talking to some freaky skeleton creature, and it's fine.